So you guys know the Griswolds, right? And their family vacations. Well, they stole those stories from the Thornbergs, I'm pretty sure. So when I was in the 7th grade, my family decided to go to one of my cousin's weddings down in Texas. And there are my parents and 5 children, one of whom is kind of like having 5 all in one. And we decided to drive from basically the Canadian border to Texas. And the first half of the trip, I don't really remember that much of, so I don't think all that much happened. But we were planning on stopping in Kansas because my dad has this business, and one of the plants is down in Kansas. And so we're, I'm just going to say like 60 miles out of Kansas, and we hit a deer. And that's just not ever good. But it's, particularly bad when there's my mom and my dad and then these 5 kids, again, one of whom is kind of like having 5 in one. And so my dad sends somebody from his office to come and get us, and then the next day he goes out to rent a van. Except instead of renting a van, he went out and bought a camper, the finest camper that $500 can buy. He comes driving back up with this pickup, and my mom's face just goes, oh. It's just neon tarp straps holding it onto the thing on top, and he only had one at the time, and the back door just didn't close. It was just flapping in the wind, and he's driving it up, and so we get back in the car, but now the inside of a truck is a little bit smaller than a van, so there's no longer room for all 5 kids to fit in the legal compartment of the truck. So my brother, the one who is kind of like having 5 kids in one, gets in the camper and, of course, takes full advantage of driving my parents crazy. And my mom's she's a little wound. And so here's my dad and my mom and the 4 kids in the truck, and then my brother is just going crazy in the back seat, like dancing all over and jumping and, tearing off cushions off the camper, just all those things that kids think are fun. And so you can see this driving down the road, the tarp straps and the door like locked with these neon orange tarp straps, a kid jumping around in the back seat, a mom just like, you obviously can't hear what she's saying from the road, but you just see her screaming from the front seat, and all these 4 children who are just like really nice, like Lutheran kids, just very quiet, and then the one in the back just crazy. And so we drive like this for a long time, like Kansas to Texas, and we get pretty close to the wedding, and so we're staying at this hotel. And my dad goes to get the car washed, and so he pulls up through the drive-thru, forgetting to take into account like the extra height that the camper now adds to the truck. So he pulls up with the tarp straps and the door flapping, and just goes chunk, and puts this huge gash in the top of the finest camper that $500 can buy. And so now it's dirty, and it's not going to get clean. And he goes back to the hotel, and he picks up the kids. And my brother, the crazy one from the back, washed all his clothes, which was weird, and it probably hasn't happened since. But he didn't have time to dry them. And so instead of drying them, he got on top of the pickup, and remember the tarp straps, he took full advantage, apparently unbeknownst to anybody else, and he tied all of his clothes to the tarp straps. And so we're driving down the road now with one kid just going crazy in the back seat, and the mom yelling in the front seat, and the tarp straps and the door slapping and the clothes just flapping and flapping and flapping in the wind. And you have to get gas every once in a while. So we're at a gas station, and my dad he just really likes to buy things that are, I don't know, he calls them clever, but kind of they're weird. And so he buys 3 liters, all in one jar, of soda because, I mean, really, 3 liters of soda, why would you not drink that? And so he buys it. And my littlest brother, who was probably about 5 at the time, again, apparently unbeknownst to anybody else, consumes the entire contents of the 3 liters of strawberry soda. And we drive to the wedding, and my mom makes us park like 5 miles away. This is a country club wedding. That's all she would ever call it. This is a country club wedding. You know, the deer would like come up to your hands and eat right out of them. And no way are we driving up with the camper, with the gash, with the tarp straps, with the clothing, with the door, with the kid in the back, just going crazy. And so we walk up there, and we get to the wedding probably about 5 minutes before it starts, which is apparently a really good time to introduce yourself, like to your new in-laws or whatever. These people were going to be family, I guess. And so my dad is sitting there introducing himself to everybody, and you know the music is playing, and the mother of the groom is coming in. Of course, she's in this poofy dress and it's beautiful, and she's the first person to walk down the aisle, and my dad is still introducing everybody, and okay, this is me, and these are the, kids. And then he gets to the youngest one, who just kind of looks a little off. and he's kind of rocking a little, and I guess maybe thinking about these 3 liters of soda that he just had. And 5 minutes before the country club wedding starts, the first woman to walk down the aisle comes up, and Jordan just looks at her. Projectile vomits down the front of her dress 5 minutes before the wedding started. Whoops.